Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Alice Namuli Blazevic, expert blockchain at KATS Uganda. Alice is an associate partner at Katende, Sempempwa and company advocates, specializing in commercial transactions. She has over 15 years experience in commercial transactions, specializing in infrastructure projects, project finance, triple Ps, and mergers and acquisitions. She also specializes in technology law with a keen interest in artificial intelligence, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and the law. She represents several fintechs and blockchain technology-based businesses which are reshaping the mode of doing business in Uganda and Africa as a whole. She is the chairperson of the Uganda Legal Tech Network and founder of the Legal Innovation Hub. She also has experience in cross-border transactions where she has advised various large multinational ventures within Uganda and across East, South, West Africa, and the United Kingdom. She has authored many articles on AI and blockchain.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the kind introduction. I beg you to excuse me. I have a very bad cold, flu, so my voice is not very clear, but I'll literally try my best. Yes, I'm here to make a presentation on blockchain legislation, the case of Uganda. But before I get into the legislation, I thought I would just share with you the importance of blockchain in the agriculture sector in Uganda. As you can see, according to the statistics we have, our economy depends, our economy depends on 26%, rather its GDP depends on 26% of our GDP depends on agriculture, and 70% of the population is employed in the agriculture sector. But unfortunately, or still as the case, we still use a very traditional systems and very dependent on natural conditions, like, I guess, rain and the sun. But currently, what I see in our country is that slowly by slowly we are starting to embrace technology, not only in the agriculture sector, but in many sectors of the country, of the economy. And technology has become extremely, I guess, important to drive the economy. And we believe that definitely not only Uganda, but Africa as a whole will be able to leapfrog. Technology, or the emerging technologies, will help us to leapfrog in terms of development. Generally, blockchain in Uganda, I think it's taken off. We're experiencing exponential growth. There's lots of innovations, blockchain innovations that are going on in different hubs across the country, both supported by the private sector and the public sector. And we believe that with the use of technology, there will be an increase in per capita income, which definitely will bring Uganda to a middle income status in the future. Blockchain in agriculture, like most of the speakers have said, there is no doubt about what blockchain can do when you look at the value chain, right from production to storage to transportation, finance, everything. If you put it on the blockchain, the results are incomparable to definitely what we've always used. And as a country, we are also experiencing a growth of many startups, tech startups, that have come up in this industry, and they're helping farmers to literally connect, first of all, connect the farmers to the sellers, and taking out a lot of middlemen from the whole distribution chain. We've seen startups that have come up with finance, a lot of finance, and reaching out to the unbankable population. Of course, when you look at Uganda, the biggest population, or the majority who are able to access finance, really preside in urban centers. But with this kind of technologies, or rather that blockchain technology, these companies have been able to reach out to all the remote areas. Most of the farming takes place in the remote areas. Let me say, we have a northern region where it's very, very difficult to reach. But then you have all these farmers having, being registered or upload or sell their products on the blockchain system through these startups. I've given a few examples, as you can see. Some of them are still, how can I say, they're mainly on the African continent, and they have a little presence within East Africa. But the leaders in the blockchain industry, most of our countries, rather, the leading countries in the blockchain in Africa is Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Rwanda, and Uganda. So most of all these, when you look at some of these startups which have a presence on the continent, just know it's either Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, and Rwanda. So one could be registered in Nigeria, but has a lot of presence in East Africa and South Africa. In Uganda specifically, there are these two examples I want to share with you. We have Kariko Cafe, which started, it's a blockchain company that is able to certify shipments of coffee to try to meet growing demand from consumers for more information about where products have come from. Like the last speaker mentioned, people are becoming very informative, and they want, of course, more information about where the products they're consuming are coming from. And definitely this kind of technology has been able to provide or fulfill that need. And most of the people who have used this system, they can swear, most of the benefits, of course, they enjoy transparency, tamper-proof, and goods that have been easily tracked along the supply chain. Another project, or the newest entrant we have, is we will call it a revolutionary project led by a London-listed company called Commodities. It's helping finance farmers, or literally trying to fill the lacuna in the ecosystem and provide finance on the blockchain, what we call blockchain for finance. It's also partnering with another agriculture company in Uganda called Pure Grow Africa, which is a leading supplier of high-quality agriculture products produced in Uganda. And again, the people who are able to use these services can swear to them that definitely, compared to where they were and where they are now, it's the difference is very big. That's what this company is aiming on, reaching out to 1,000 smallholder farmers in Uganda. They will be selected, of course, by Pure Grow, which is like I told you, a Ugandan-based company. Yeah, and the last part is on blockchain and policy or regulation. Unfortunately, we don't have any laws. What we have, I would say, is just a framework. And why? I would want to start with the challenges. The challenges are very simple. This, I think, have affected, it's what most countries face. It starts with the complexity of the subject or the industry. So many of our regulators are not aware of what they actually should regulate. They don't understand what exactly it is. So the best thing most people believe is to ignore, and most probably at first they thought it will go away if we ignore it. Then another one is a conflict between the different regulators. We have the finance sector, who are like the central bank, which regulates the finance sector, which has been in the past 3 years issuing statements every 3 months or 4 months, telling people to not to do anything with the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. But where did all this come from? Because most people, the other challenge is that there's a misconception between blockchain and cryptocurrency. When you talk about blockchain, everyone thinks you're talking about cryptocurrency. So even regulators, when you talk about the police, to them, anyone, when they're fighting cybercrime, and it's all to do with illicit trade on the blockchain through using cryptocurrency, the first thing they think, no, we have to, we have to keep the masses away, the citizens away from blockchain. So that confusion over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years has made it very, very difficult for our regulators to sit down and say, what exactly is this? How can we even regulate it? But of course, the innovators, they just went ahead and came up with all these amazing technologies which are already on the market. So what now our regulators are doing is literally to try to understand. They're like literally just chasing these innovators, and they're like, okay, what exactly this is? And what I can say is that the good news is we have been, for the last 2 years now, the government of Uganda has come out and been very strong in supporting blockchain association and communities. We've had various conferences. There's actually one coming up in June, another blockchain conference. And the president himself and the minister endorsed the idea of working out means to exploit the technologies. And after that, even all like the central banks, the police, the tax authorities, they all came on board, and now they are trying to create awareness and make people understand the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency. So and also every time I speak to people, I tell people, if you actually don't like cryptocurrencies, it's okay, you can leave that out. But please try to understand that the system offers much more than just cryptocurrencies. And I would also say Uganda, we are very lucky at the moment that it's one of those countries where, even though without regulation, most of the blockchain technologies now and cryptocurrencies are not facing much resistance from regulators. In our neighbors, like in Tanzania, in other countries, people are hunted down. Most startups are closed down because of, I've told you the mystery, because most regulators or governments are still confusing that too. So Uganda, we are at that place where the government of Uganda is fully backing us. The government has also gone ahead to develop policy guidelines and encouraging industries to utilize the same. We have a national blockchain task force that was set up to come up with a policy and to streamline the use of blockchain. It's also anticipated that after the policy has been crafted, adequate legislation definitely will come out of it. But right now, the drafts definitely we are seeing are not, how can I explain it? this is all coming from government. So we, from the private sector, we are also coming on board to work together, because so many of us have been able to get at least some training and understand what the technology is. So working hand in hand with government definitely is the best way of doing this. The government is also in the process of introducing tax mechanisms and incentives that encourage the private sector to invest in blockchain, which we believe this will bring up new opportunities for the public and private sector. The government has also set up institutions. We have different institutions or blockchain academies that have been able to carrying out training and education of the masses. So we think that definitely if the citizens are informed and aware of this technology, the government is trained or educated, very soon, even when the regulation comes out, it'll be much easier to create awareness, which will definitely support growth in return to boost the economy. What I've been talking about, what the government has been doing, is basically trying to create an ecosystem that would be able to support blockchain in Uganda. But I think while we are also discussing the blockchain in agriculture, I was thinking it's also important to understand the other industries or fields that are able to support the blockchain in agriculture. Like, for example, in my country, the biggest disputes definitely we have are arise out of land fraud and all that. But if you introduce registration of land on the blockchain, all these systems are able to basically do away with a lot of the fraud that is, in the end, has an impact on the agriculture sector. I'm just thinking this is definitely while we are growing or boosting, the agriculture industry, how about the land, basically, where, most of agriculture, of course, most of agriculture takes place. So in Uganda, we have a pilot project that is taking place, which is being supported by government. It's called Bitland, where the government is trying it out to register properties, land, or on the blockchain. But we believe, yes, despite the fact the government having so much support and quite enthusiastic about it, the key issues here is that the system, the already existing system, is benefiting so many people, the whole corruption, the chain of corruption. So I'm sure this might not be as easy, to implement as we might think. But clearly, but the fact that we are here, I think it's important to think about it. Then blockchain finance, someone talked about it. These two definitely go together. The agriculture sector needs a lot of finance to support it. So how do we support blockchain finance to make sure that also the agriculture sector grows? Then lastly, about the other emerging technologies like AI. In my country, there are so many startups that have come up using AI to help with the production system in the agriculture sector, like determining the weather, particular soils, drones helping with the sowing and planting. So how do we use also the other technologies that are already on the market to promote agriculture on the blockchain? What do I think is the future of blockchain in agriculture in Uganda? I think the future is very, very optimistic. And I believe Uganda, to maximize its full potential, the use of technology, it has to work or to collaborate with the government of Uganda has to collaborate with other stakeholders. It has to make sure that the whole ecosystem is vibrant. You have to invest in a lot of capital. It has to make sure that there are regulatory standards, codes of conduct, training. It has to support incubators, innovation hubs, education institutions. For all this to work, it can't be in a vacuum. Blockchain in agriculture can't be in a vacuum. All these things have to work. Thank you very much.